Since you and I have recorded, we've lost a couple of members of our little wrestling community and family. Let's start with somebody who I know was important in your life. You were telling us a little bit before we clicked record. Mr. Dennis Brent, no longer with us. You got any good Dennis stories you can share with us?
Not really. Dennis was one of those guys that was instrumental in, I guess, the world class magazine and things of that nature. But Dennis was all around a good friend of Jim Ross's, and also a avid Nolan Ryan collector, and helped Nolan Ryan write his book and things of that nature. And Dennis, good guy. His wife Lynn, wonderful person, and be sadly missed.
What about Kevin Sullivan? Did you spend any time with Kevin Sullivan back in the territory days, or would there ever even been an opportunity for you to spend much time with him at all?
No, Tom and Kevin were very good friends. And, so I knew Kevin kind of through him, but not really. And met Kevin with The Undertaker very early on in the beginnings of The Undertaker in 1990-ish. And Kevin was always just really, really nice and very insightful. And we always talked every time that we saw each other. Saw him at several fan conventions and things like that. Had an opportunity to spend a little time with him at some of those. But Kevin was the devil, man. He was Kevin, and a brilliant guy. I'll get into, it's funny. Somebody played something for me. Matter of fact, 2 nights ago, and it was Jim Cornette and Kevin on a video, and they were talking about what's wrong with the business today. And I just started to chuckle because it's like, I'm guilty of this, is that a lot of times us old timers, we view the business and we will start off with things like, well, here's what's wrong with the business, instead of, here's what's different about the business today. It's not what's wrong. It's just what's different. The business has changed. The business evolves. And the same people that say that were the same people that were getting that kind of comment in the 70s from the guys from the 50s. You guys are screwing up the business. What's wrong? It's not about what's wrong with the business. It's just what's different with the business. What has the business evolved into? And I got a good chuckle out of that because it was an interesting comment, to say the least. But Kevin, man, I have the utmost respect for. We talked many times on the phone, and every time we were in person, it was very cordial. And you always got to learn a little something anytime that you have opportunity to speak to the devil.
I can't believe this is real, but well, we've heard in wrestling or just in life, sometimes death comes in threes. We also lost Afa the Wild Samoan.
Wow.
My goodness.
Twice, because of the ineptness and absolute just sheer shoddy unprofessionalism of one Dave Meltzer. Can't even believe how stupid and how just really poorly he does whatever job he thinks he does. But, of course, Dave Meltzer put out that Afa had passed one day before he actually had. And I know we take shots at him all the time, but this is inexcusable. This is a simple phone call to confirm or deny, but yet he hears on a Facebook post that they didn't even say he was dead. Dave just came to that conclusion because he's Dave, because he's lazy, he's sloppy. And some people say, you get better with age, and maybe Dave has, which tells you how sloppy and how shitty his reporting has been his entire career. Dave, you should be ashamed, and you should do more than an apology. You should do all of your fans do the right thing and just leave. Go away and go to sleep somewhere and eat some pablum, because you're an embarrassment. You're an embarrassment to yourself, and you're an embarrassment to your family, and you're a disgusting human being. And it's things like that, man, it's just like, come on, dude. Really? Really? And the people that actually believe, that, and then you believe anything else. He uses the exact same type of reporting with everything else that he does with something as important as life and death. That is the easiest of all to confirm or deny. But yet this guy prints it, and I cannot stand him. And I'm sorry I had to say that. I'm sorry that I had to say that at the expense of talking about Afa, who is someone that I did know and someone that I learned an awful lot about. And I had some of the most wonderful times with Afa the Samoan, Afa Anoa'i. And Afa was with that. Just there's a presence when Afa came into the room. Afa and Sika both, but I think that Afa even more so. And I had a lot more dealings with Afa one-on-one, but Afa, brought us Dave Batista. Afa had a school, and Afa was just one of those guys that was a stand-up, straightforward. You knew exactly where you stood with him, and he took absolutely zero caca from anybody. And it was an honor. It was a privilege to get to know this man and get to know his family. And the way that he treated me as, come on in, be a part. And that just goes huge void, losing Afa. We lost Sika, huge void a few months ago, and now Afa. And, I really think sometimes that there are kindred spirits that when Afa lost his brother, that it was only a matter of time, really, that the two of them would join again. And it's funny how that happens. But two of the greatest of all time, and Afa, this week we lost one of the greatest of all times. And very, very sad about this one. Very, very sad. And, it's one of those that you get sad, you get mad at stupid things that are reported, and it hurts. It hurts people. And that's why I get mad at it.
Well, I think we're all mad at the fact that we even have to talk about Afa passing. Three big names in our little wrestling community no longer with us. All we can hope for now is the peace and contentment for their family. And let's try to remember the happy times. Think about the good old days with some of those folks. Afa's legacy just continues to grow with the success of the bloodline, and that family just continues to flourish and grow.
When people don't, you think about the people that Afa has touched in training and things of that nature. Billy Kidman and Batista are the very first two that come to mind that are, some of the greats of the business. And Batista had gone down to WCW, and they, told him, "You'll never make it in this business, kid. You're the shits." And Afa called me and said, "Would you take a look at him? Just all I ask is, would you take a look at him if I brought him down?" I said, "Afa, you bring him down, we will definitely take a look at him." And instead of, putting him through the paces and trying to make him puke and see how many Hindu squats he could do and different things like that, we put him in the ring with my brother Tom, and just to see if he had an aptitude to learn. Did he have an aptitude? Did he have a willingness? Did he have the attitude and the physical attributes to be successful in this business? And a lot of times you can tell that by just locking up with somebody, watching how they walk around the ring. And Dave Batista was somebody who was very comfortable in doing that. And those simple fundamentals were taught to him by Afa. And I think Dave Batista did all right for himself. So it's a different philosophy. The WCW power plant was one where they like to get guys and, and kind of bully them and do all these different things. I never got that. I never understood. Let's do this. And I just want to watch you puke. It's, do you have an aptitude to learn or don't? Do you have an aptitude for the business as far as psychology? Are you comfortable in the ring? And, will you come back? So all of those things in one are what make the true difference as far as if they're going to make it or not in this business.
You mentioned some of the other great names that went through his school. You mentioned specifically Billy Kidman and Batista. Well, how about Paul Orndorff and Junkyard Dog and Luna Vachon and Michael Hayes and Yokozuna and Bam Bam Bigelow and Rikishi and Sherry Martel and Virgil and Gene Snitsky and Chris Canyon, and so many people would look to Afa and call him a mentor, and
Hop.
just gone way too soon, man. Some of these guys you just think are going to live forever, and sadly, that's not the case for Afa.
Well, we hope so anyway. We hope they'll live forever, and just Father Time does no jobs.